Welcome to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go, a look at modern and retro games with a dark sense of humor. Introducing your hosts, Steve.
Well, I'm a wreck now.
Harry.
Put it in my mouth.
Clark.
That man had one testicle and hit home runs, goddammit.
And Joe.
This went off the rails very quickly.
Let's start the show.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast. Go! All right. We got to go one for you tonight, folks.
We gotta go one for you tonight.
You listen here. We got it. We got it for you.
All right. Across the table from me, I have Steve.
This smells of adventure. You mean the shit?
Also across from me, I have Harry.
Shut up, chair stuffer.
Next to me, I have Clark.
There's no more misleading to be had, you fop noodle.
And I'll be your host tonight. My name is Joe. Writing is bad for your health. All right. So tonight we'll be reviewing the Dungeon of Naheulbeuk, the Amulet of Chaos.
Bless you.
Naheulbeuk.
Now, bro.
Just for reference for the episode of the rest of the episode, to make our lives easier, we'll just refer to it as the Amulet of Chaos.
I appreciate
Or,
that.
or dungeons.
All right. Before we get further into it, tonight's episode is sponsored by...
You mean Deep Creek Glassworks?
Deep Creek Glassworks.
Since 2013, Deep Creek Glassworks has been providing you, the people, with handcrafted, durable works of art. You want some wine glasses? Cool, we got you. You want some beer glasses? Cool, we got you. You want some pendants, ornaments, functional glass? We got you. And by we, I mean Deep Creek Glassworks.
And a gun pipe.
That's
a thing that was on his Instagram.
Exactly. And you can find other really cool things that Tanner makes by visiting deepcreekglassworks.com, work spelled WORX, or check out their Etsy, Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias. And if you find something that you really like, or will like something as a variant, you just need to contact Tanner at any of those social medias and use the promo code SUPERFUN, and you're going to get 10% off of your first purchase. And that first purchase can be shipped to you in,
Crush-resistant
Boxes.
crush-resistant boxes.
For free!
The shipping is free?
The shipping is free!
Oh, shit. That's even more incentive for you to go check out deepcreekglassworks.com. WORX. Today.
All right. Thank you for that ad. So, initial impressions. Harry, go ahead first.
Geez. I knew nothing about this game getting into it, but then somebody, I think that started playing it before I popped it in, mentioned that it was very similar to
XCOM.
I
said it was medieval XCOM.
And
it was me.
And it basically
It's me.
is in a lot of ways. That's my initial impression, I guess. Yeah.
Nice. Clark?
You mentioned this game, and I looked it up, and then didn't look at any of the gameplay, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's going to be like kind of like a Diablo clone RPG." Just guessing from the
Yeah, all the different classes and the shit that I normally play.
yeah, I was like, "Okay, this is going to be like Diablo, but it looks like you maybe carry around a party, a la Torchlight or something like that." I was like, "Okay, yeah, all right." And then when I finally downloaded it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is XCOM." And the tutorial is just as convoluted, but it doesn't need to be. And then off I went into my playthrough.
Nice. Steve?
Yeah, I did no research for this game. I just went in and was like, oh, this is what Joe posted up.
He's like, this is the correct game.
This
Download.
is what I'm going to play. And then I slowly learned this is basically like a dungeon crawl medieval XCOM. I'm like, I'm going to fucking suck at this. It's going to be terrible.
Nice.
But actually wasn't as bad as I thought going into it, and we will unravel the story of my experience.
Okay, Purd. So it's like
unravel my experience right now.
Exactly.
Trying to set up my
Glad
new
it went
career.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So my initial impressions, this game actually came up on my Steam catalog wish list thing.
No way.
Because
What?
well, when we played the South Park game, the last time I played it on Steam, and when you play games, it starts to kind of learn what you're interested in, and then it'll start suggesting things. So this one was advertised to me while we were playing that, because when you go to your library page to launch a game, it has similar to right there.
And they gave you this?
It gave me this.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let me check that out. And I was like, that's a fucking weird name. I was like, this is such a very specific type of game and name. And it was just very interesting to me.
Very specific names.
Yeah.
You looking at me?
Yes. Yeah, yes, I am.
Something behind me?
Yeah. There is.
It's Joe. Oh, God.
Yes. So yeah, I saw the trailer for it. I thought it seemed kind of funny. The gameplay looked pretty sweet. And then I actually pre-ordered it before it came out. I played a few hours before I pitched it for the podcast, because I was like, well, let's kind of see what I'm dealing with here. Let me I was I knew it was going to be kind of a longer game, so I was like, let me make sure that I want to actually commit to this before I pitch it to everybody else, because I don't want to be that guy.
A small beta test.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's about it for my initial impressions. All right. So let's leave the elf in the Louvre and move into game development.
Game development.
All right, game development.
Game development.
Game development.
All right.
Boy,
So-
oh boy, was NyQuil a bad idea.
You seem lethargic already.
Yeah, I feel really fucked up.
Nice.
Did you have some wine with it?
What's that?
Did you have some wine with it?
Nah, no, I'm not trying to
You
destroy
should.
my liver.
Nah, it's okay.
Just have fun with it a little.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You're just teasing it. Just tease your liver.
Just teasing it.
It's like, oh, we getting fucked up tonight? No, this is for medical purposes. It's like, wine is also
Doing a
medical.
study on my own liver.
Yeah.
Got it.
We gotta go.
Yeah.
Guys, we gotta go. We gotta go.
So this is, I think, the third or fourth medium that this story has been kind of told.
Yeah.
So the story originally came out as an audio series based on a D&D campaign a group of friends did.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It oozed that idea
feel.
of Dungeon Master
Yeah.
type deal. Yeah. The narrator. Things like that.
And they took everything very literally when they made the game out of it, which I thought was actually kind of neat.
Index with your finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So outside of that, so it was developed by Artifact Studios, and like I said, it was based on the French audio series of the same name, which also has a comic series associated with it as well. And that's pretty much all the information that I could find on it.
Oh,
to be
congrats.
quite fair.
This is far from a AAA game.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It launched at $35 to give everybody kind of an idea of the class of game that it's kind of competing with, essentially.
That's $1 an hour though, in terms of
Enjoyment.
what you're paying for it. That's pretty good.
But at least didn't it
Value-wise.
start as
Yeah.
a tabletop game, and then that it evolved into either audiobook and then an actual video game. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
The audio series is actually pretty old, from my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think because when I was looking things up for this, the biggest point was tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
So, and then French, which is why you can't pronounce half of the game title.
That's
Other
one
than-
word.
Yeah, the Dungeon of
Naheulbeuk.
Chaos.
Croissant. That's how we gain listeners right there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that was all I had for game development. It was impossible to really find anything.
It's fair.
Their website was almost entirely in French. Even
In
when
French,
you,
yeah.
Even when
Yeah.
you clicked the English tab, like it was just like barely any text, and only some of it was English.
Would you like to adventure home?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Let's see, baguette, croissant. I don't understand anything on this page.
Exactly. Yeah.
all right. Well, let's go talk to the innkeeper, get some rest, and wake up in story.
Story.
Why do they keep putting hands in my pockets?
Get away from me, gold.
Your group of adventurers, including the ranger, the barbarian, the elf, the dwarf, the wizard, the ogre, and the thief, are sent to a dungeon to recover a statuette. Upon arrival to the castle, your group is cursed by the Amulet of Chaos, making one of your party members vanish. After battling your way through the dungeon, the vanished thief rejoins your party, and you begin your journey to find answers on how to rid yourself of the curse that is keeping you from exiting the dungeon. After many trials, you come across a magic anvil being guarded by chaos dwarves, whom you can either help or fight to get access to the magic anvil to destroy the Amulet of Chaos. Once the amulet is destroyed, you continue on your way to find the statuette as was originally planned. So, real shortened there, but that's kind of
Yeah.
the general consensus.
No, it's fair.
It's a lot of like fetch questy type stuff that doesn't have a whole lot of story associated with it.
Go here, do this. Like, you make a deal with a demon to get sent to an alternate reality. You learn about what's going on and what's getting you trapped there. The whole time loop thing.
Yeah.
Every time you die, you loop to the beginning
Of the dungeon, your
and-
memory's wiped, and it's
Yeah.
like you're basically starting fresh in there. That's why you have to break the curse of the amulet.
Yep.
Right. And there were a lot of side quests like in between.
Side quests, as far as like part of the main quest that were like still main story, but you had to do a side excursion type thing.
No, there were side quests. There were a lot of side quests.
I just wanted clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were separate side quests, but I feel like some of the main stories were kind of side questy too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're like, in terms of like quality,
Yeah.
there was no differentiating between the side quest and the main quest. They were kind of like one and the same in terms of like
The depth of the story.
yeah, depth, tasks that it was having you doing, things like that.
Yeah, there really wasn't much like detail that went in with the side quest. It was just kind of like, hey, here's this thing. Go find my chickens. I'm like, okay, I'll go find your chickens.
Go fight, find the chickens, click on the one chicken after the battle, you go back. You know, like
Yeah.
that's basically the gameplay loop of this.
Story.
Well, yeah, it's the story loop of the
Yeah. That's what the story you get out of the questing.
yeah.
It's pretty shallow for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
but-
say so.
But at the same time, you know, the way they presented it was already like kind of like as a trope, where it's
Yes.
like, oh, we're a group of adventurers. What are we gonna do? I don't know. Let's go do this thing. Okay, this is the thing we're gonna go do.
It's very tongue in cheek too. Like just like the way that they go do everything. They're just like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, we're doing this." Like,
Yeah.
we got to go find the game master or the dungeon master.
Yeah.
Like it's very like
It's like they're talking to the player.
yeah,
almost.
self-aware.
Yeah.
It's very meta. It's very fourth wall breaking type of dialogue between the characters and the narrator. Like the narrator has direct conversations with like all the characters
characters,
can
yeah.
hear the narrator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And things like that, and he reacts to some of the things they do. So
or she reacts.
Yeah,
Yes.
did,
to what they do.
I was going to ask about that in audio. If anybody switched to the female voice, just I wanted to see if the narrator was better as a female.
yeah,
I did. I switched to the female.
I didn't even see that as an option.
Yeah. In the very beginning, or at least like
You
in
could change
the,
it at
the
any time.
settings.
Oh,
Yeah.
But even as the having like a female voiceover, they still refer to the voiceover as him.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they didn't switch up the dialogue. It's like, what is he saying? Even though it's like, Yeah.
Well, it's a small company,
Yeah.
so they're going to have to redo dialogue and all that stuff.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
any
I'm just
voiceovers
saying,
and things like that.
like-
So
There's a way to cut pronouns out though to make it.
Yeah.
Everyone is they.
Yeah, exactly. They
they
you
probably
go.
thought of that halfway through or once it was done.
Or even
sure-
just
like, oh,
referring
shit.
to that person is in our head again. Like there's ways around it.
I'm sure it was originally written in French too, considering
Yeah.
it was a French studio based on a French story, and
Mm-hmm.
they probably did everything in French and then translated it.
Yeah, the localization company was just like, yeah, we're not.
Yeah, right. We're not progressive.
We're
Get
not,
out of here.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
So I will say I had a I guess a difference of opinion from the beginning of the game to the end of the game on the story. Mm-hmm. I thought it was like, for lack of a better word, kind of cute in the beginning of the game. It was just it was fun, like just very engaging with the player.
Yeah.
And again, like not taking itself too seriously. And then it just seemed like they fluffed it up with too much. Like every scene had to make the full round of characters talking. Everybody had to have their input.
Yeah.
So if they're like,
Whether
hey,
it was
let's
a
go down
quip
this
or-
hallway, the thief would have something to say about it. The barbarian would have something to say about it.
Yep.
Because they wanted their personality spin on this next action that they're going to take.
Yeah.
And that made conversations kind of drag on longer.
It's like 15 hours of the game.
yeah. Well, especially when you have like 8 characters in your main party.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's just
time
everybody
consuming.
and everybody has to say something on every event. It makes the game take way longer than it probably should have.
And when
Yeah.
you can tell too, they got bored with that format. That was someone's design choice that they couldn't tell them no.
Yeah. They probably wanted equal screen time for like all characters because
Yeah.
they didn't know which player the character would like the most.
Right, but then you have like the ranger says like 2 sentences, and then they go to the dwarf.
I'm
And
the
he's
ranger
like,
from the bay.
like he's like, "Bah!" Like, and that's like you have to skip through that. You have to actually.
Oh, I
click
started
through
to.
that.
Once I started hitting chapter 6, I was just skipping dialogue. I just couldn't do it anymore.
I wasn't skipping dialogue. I was like reading it on screen. I wasn't letting the voice actors do their thing sometimes because I was just like, Jesus Christ, I don't need everyone's opinion about every single little thing. That
Yeah,
we're
I
doing.
mean, by that point in the game, though, you like know what like
yeah,
You
what you're
know their
doing.
personality. You can kind of expect what they're going to say.
Dwarf is
Yeah.
going to say something that's like a backhanded comment to the elf.
Yeah.
Barbarian's going to say something about just like rocking out.
Yeah, murder
Let's rock.
for crumb.
For Crumb. Yeah.
For crumb.
No, I enjoyed the banter back and forth.
Yeah.
I mean, even towards the end of the game, it's like I still let it play out. And it's like,
You could change it too.
Well, you could shut off 2 of the characters.
You could change the frequency as well.
Oh,
Yeah, so you could in the options you could disable the dwarf, and then you could disable the elf, and then you could also increase or decrease the frequency of the banter.
oh,
I didn't mind the banter.
Yeah, the banter was fine because that's in between while running.
Yeah,
Actually,
when you're running and stuff, I don't mind any of that. It's literally when you
Just
go
the-
talk to somebody
Yeah.
and everybody has to say something in
Yeah.
the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Actually,
That shit's
I
super
wouldn't
annoying.
have turned down the banter because the banter was actually pretty solid, and I
Yeah.
actually liked hearing some of the lines over and over again. Like, I
I mean,
really
we just quoted like 10 of them.
I know,
Yeah.
but there's still a lot more that I think are really good. Like,
Yeah.
like whenever, so the wizardess is the only one that can understand what the ogre has to say.
Yeah.
And I love the line where he's just like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr," and he's like, and she responds, yeah, no, go ahead. And like, I always wonder what did he say that
Yeah.
she's just like, yeah, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead and do that. Or the one time he's like rah rah rah, and she's like, he really wants to do this, but he doesn't. He's not unsure about that. Like he just she makes this huge long like
Yeah.
I'm the interpreter and I'm gonna throw my own opinion in here.
Yeah. No, I like that. And that's all like the banter stuff.
Right? Yeah, like that stuff I found interesting. It's the
The stop and talk to an NPC dialogue. That was
where
the painful.
everyone has to have a fucking say, and only 3 of the characters say something important.
well, to be fair, you stop and talk to that NPC.
Nah, that shit happens during the main quest.
Yeah,
too,
it's
though.
the main quest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the main quest.
Sure.
It's not. Yeah, it's
All
bad.
right.
Yeah,
It's-
to
it's
progress
bad.
the story, like you
Yeah.
have to get through some of
Yep,
these.
it's bad.
Okay.
All right. So, anything else about story? I mean, it's
Can somebody tell me what happened at the end? Because mine faded to black with the dwarf yelling socks, and I
Yeah,
refused.
where do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we can
this
talk
Here,
is
about
where,
gameplay. We
Well,
can transition to gameplay after this gripe.
like at the very end,
Yeah,
it still just fades to black.
so I didn't miss much.
It's just
I
him.
mean, I didn't have fade to black. I didn't have any fade to black.
But I still had the text on the screen, like of just the dwarf
Right.
sock
okay.
socks.
So let's just
Yeah.
address this now.
Yeah.
So at the very end of the game, like you defeat the final boss, and then there's supposed to be a little bit of like back and forth, like ending dialogue, and then roll to credits.
Yeah, it goes around the table like 3 or 4 times.
3 out of 4 of us were met with a dialogue line, and then it just froze.
Yeah, the game completely froze with that dialogue up.
And
And it's the part where he's like, "But I said socks."
Yeah, socks.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it crashed like 10 seconds before the end.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which
Like,
is the game just fades to black.
It's I think there's like 1 or 2 more lines after that, and then it goes to credits.
there's really nothing after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see credits.
I know.
But that's-
I talked with Clark about it,
Yeah.
and he and I actually like went back into the middle of the battle, finished out the final battle, and then as soon as the dialogue started, skip.
And boy, oh boy, do I have something to say about going back into the middle of a battle
We will get to that.
in the gameplay. Remind me
Okay.
about that in gameplay.
It's probably
but
there's
at least,
an option,
like-
I believe, related to maybe what you're talking about.
Yeah, so at least
I don't know if
remind
it's
me
an
because
option.
I saved gameplay spoiler. I saved progressively
This episode's
like
already fucked anyway. Go ahead.
throughout. I save throughout like battles, so I can get back to a certain spot. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I didn't line my shit up right, so I wanted to be able to go reload.
You were save scumming.
Yeah,
He loves scum.
I do. That's why I love you guys.
You were saving in the middle of battle.
Yeah, I was saving in the middle of battle, and that ending point where it just froze. I'm glad I'm not the only one, and to an extent, I'm a little upset because it's not just
Yeah.
how I played it, because I played on PC,
Right.
and I think
I played on PS5,
right,
Samesies.
Yeah, and I played on PC.
and
so it's a rampant. It's something wrong with the
There's
actual
something-
game.
Oh, there's a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
things wrong with the game,
several.
like with their coding.
Yeah.
'Cause I suck. Anyway, so sorry, were you done your point?
Yeah, yeah.
I predicted pretty early on, and it didn't happen, but I wish it would have gone that way. With how like up front they were about just like breaking that fourth wall. I thought they were gonna like end the game with like them breaking out of this D&D in quotations world and like attacking the players like in like, and it just cuts to like a real life like I don't know, like,
Jumanji.
Okay,
Yes.
this game had some clever moments, but they aren't Monty Python clever.
Yeah, yeah.
Where like at the end of Holy Grail, they're just like in modern day, and they're running around just murdering film crews with.
Like
No.
I forget what it was. We watched that D&D movie, and then they like the characters come out of the door and just start like murdering the people playing. them.
Yeah, yeah.
Or something like I thought they would have gone a route similar to that, or like confronting the player.
Yeah, it
So
would have
it's
been
like-
interesting to,
Yeah,
to see.
I know.
something
That's
like
why
that.
I foresaw this going, because they had to break the loop of just playing. It would have made sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting.
I don't have much else for story in general.
Yeah, I don't either.
Did anybody play the DLC?
No, I didn't purchase it either.
I started it up just because when I went to go back to see like what the actual ending was, it just goes right into it.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basically someone coming up and unfreezing all the characters
Ah.
and teleporting them away.
Hmm.
And the thief's alive again.
Ah.
Randomly, for no reason.
All right. Well, let's get behind some cover and move into gameplay.
Gameplay.
We're moving, but also getting behind cover.
Yeah. I mean, you can
Yeah.
do both.
You can move into cover.
Yeah.
But he said in the order we're going to get into cover first, and then we're going to move into gameplay.
Okay. I mean,
This episode's trash.
Yeah, no, he used the thing to give himself an extra turn.
Yeah, yeah.
you can move
Yeah,
and then
yeah, yeah.
move again.
Speaking of gameplay, I liked that feature.
Yeah, the
That, like the extra skills that like are based on like I didn't really understand actually what they were based on, whether it was like just went up by turns or based on damage.
It's like the laws of calamity or something like that, where it's based on all of your fails. Anytime there's a fail, it builds to that meter, or anytime you get hit, it builds to that meter, or anytime you do like certain things, it just builds into that meter.
Gotcha.
Real quick before we dive too far into this, when I experienced the glitch, I reloaded and it had given me an autosave in the middle of a battle.
Yeah.
When I went back in, the next 5 turns, I did the exact same moves that I had done and had the exact same outcomes, including criticals and critical fails.
Yep, it's a setting of the game.
It's a setting in the game?
Yeah. So there's random seeds. So you can make your playthrough more difficult if you want to. You can turn that off, and it randomizes it every time you load into the same battle. It's actually an option.
See, that's weird, because when I did the same thing at the very last battle, which is when I really reloaded.
It's one of the options when you start your game. So depending on what you selected, like if you weren't sure what that was and you turned it off, or like turned randoms on and you had randoms off, like...
Well, see, it randomized after like 5 or 6 turns, or 5 or 6 moves.
Maybe there was enough, like, one other thing different to, like...
Well, like an enemy moved to a different spot, which threw the whole thing off. But the next couple of turns, and it was like the death shot of the boss, and I was like, well, crap, I got a critical last time, and I walked over to him and critted him again for the exact same amount of damage, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was... Okay, all right. So if there's a setting for it, I missed it. It's still weird. It was very off-putting, especially since I didn't know that was a setting.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, so is everything predetermined? Like when you start the battle, like,
no.
your character is going to fail, succeed, fail, succeed, fail, succeed. Like, is that all just going through like, oh, he does action A, it succeeds. Action B fails, C fails, D succeeds.
I don't know. I do think this game suffers from similar issues that XCOM does, where the percentages aren't accurate. I know John made a big point of this.
Oh, the accuracy percentage?
Yeah, because there has been a couple times, and I don't think they explain well enough how. So let me finish that first. So XCOM had this problem where it'll say, "Hey, you have a 100% chance of hitting," but then you still have that potential to miss a shot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which is irritating because there's been times where you're like 125%, which doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
I had that happen too, but mostly only dodges.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if they've explained how dodge and parrying works into their formula well enough that maybe those alter percentages, but you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think it necessarily messes with their percentages. It's just probably a 3 stack of rolls, right? So it's to hit is 125%. You're definitely going to hit, unless on the next roll before damage is dealt, in the next roll they get a dodge save, or they get a
whatever.
Yeah, and they get that. And I also know that like a lot of developers that use these also do the nothing's perfect 1%. So there's always like the chaos of it can be 125%, but there's still a 1 in 100 chance that you're going to miss it anyway. Which is like 1% really annoying.
Came up a lot then.
I don't know. I just wish they were a little bit more transparent on how all that worked out.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if it's a calculated game, let me have that information in front of me so I can make my calculations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's. But sorry, while I'm running my mouth, I will say the gameplay was probably the best component to this game.
Oh, I agree. The actual battles themselves were awesome.
Really good. And I do like having, and I think this is the highest number or character count, 8 players.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, XCOM was like, what, 6?
Yeah,
5 or 6?
Yeah, something like that. It's like a mini army having 8 people. And I thought it was well balanced. Like you have like a whole team, but like they can all be potentially one shot. At some point or another. So it's not like they're like all tanky or anything like that. It's I don't know. It was cool. It's cool to have 8 players, just all with very unique skill sets.
Especially with the additional character that you can bring on to your team.
Yeah. What was everyone's character?
I had the paladin.
You're the paladin.
I had the paladin.
I went priestess.
Same. I did want to do the
yeah.
bard, but I just
The bard sucks.
yeah. I think he was the worst of the three.
I hated the mission or two that you like. You pretty much get to preview every single one of the characters.
Right.
I thought the paladin was interesting, but my paladin kept dying, and I was like, okay, maybe I don't understand what the purpose of this character is.
Sure.
But the priestess, I was like, oh my god, she's just like a fucking heal ninja. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna just keep this.
She was really good.
a
That and
little,
she was
like-
really into orgies.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Super into orgies.
The orgies were her thing. Classy orgies, though.
Classy orgies. can't
Well,
be-
yeah, you gotta have some.
She was very
some
upset when we
level.
had to wear rat masks.
To the orgy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Right.
I like the paladin. Paladin was good.
I did
It was
too.
just like another tank class if you wanted to build it that way.
Okay. Could you build it into a healer
No.
or a heal self character?
no.
no.
See, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that character should
Not
have
a
been.
true
She
paladin.
was more like tank-esque, where she had a lot of supporting abilities to kind of give like the rest of the party,
Auras and
Attack.
shit like that.
Oh, so she did like buffs and stuff like that?
Yeah, so she did
Yeah,
buffs,
okay.
and then she also had like holy
She's like a
damage,
red paladin.
like holy. She had like holy skills, like that were damage dealing instead of
Okay.
healing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Where like they would drop like a hammer of justice, like on something or
So
whatever.
the priest had that. Like, if you just like maxed out the priestess's like stuff, she just had like heavy damage dealing and also heavy heals. It was awesome. Like she had
Gotcha.
like in my playthrough, she had like 2 or 3 different heals that she could do.
Yeah, I did. I put her mainly in the healing. I had 3.
I
Yeah.
would call her like an upgraded dwarf.
The paladin?
Like,
Paladin.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. My dwarf at the end of the game was a fucking monster.
All my
No,
characters
he
were
was
monsters.
great, but
Yeah.
he couldn't. At least for me, he couldn't like move very much, and like he was a little limited.
yeah. She had a
in
lot
that.
more movement.
But she was on at least with my playthrough, like on the same level as either the barbarian and the ranger. Like she was a good medium between the two. She dealt a lot of damage. She can move a lot of spaces, but it wasn't like OP damage or.
Yeah, my
But,
barbarian.
I mean, her movement was fucking stupid by the
Yeah.
time I was done with it.
The barbarian's nuts too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's
Like
crazy.
he's absolutely insane. The way that I got around the dwarf movement issue was actually using the dwarf launch.
Oh, throwing him with the
Yeah.
ogre,
with the, with the
yeah.
ogre,
Dude,
yeah.
that fucking move was so fucking strong
Oh, yeah.
because it's actually based off of the ogre's strength modifier.
Yeah.
And I was putting no points into him. Like, he was naturally, every time he was leveling up, his health was enough. He was never going down for me. And I was using him almost as like another tank. So I was like throwing the dwarf
yeah.
behind and then using the leap for from the
barbarian.
barbarian,
Yeah.
and just like it was like shock and awe. I would just start murdering everything there.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking awesome
Yeah,
I didn't unlock the leap.
the leap was good.
for the barbarian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I thought you meant the ogre, but yeah, the leap for the barbarian was really good.
Yeah.
yeah.
The second tier too, where he does like the shout for protection on top of it, like as soon as
Yeah.
he lands, is also dope. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. Not only are you jumping into battle, but like you're just like self defense buff.
He was the front line for me.
Yeah.
Like when it came up, it's like he could run so far, and then I could put him like so far ahead of everybody else, and then have the leap on top of it just to get the foundation of fuck you. I'm going to take like 60, 70 health points away from
Everyone.
this circle of enemies, and I already had him up to like 420, 450 health. So yeah, you can take some damage. Why not?
Yeah.
I always
was my
would
gimp.
use like him and the elf to flank. So they would go on the same side because the elf had like one healing ability and it was enough to get him like back to health.
Yeah.
Or back up if he fell. But I would basically they would go, like out left and they would kind of follow a similar path and she would be taking guys out or starting to ping guys and he would be coming through with follow-up shots while I moved the rest of my entire group just straight up the middle and just annihilated everything with them. So by the time, the barbarian comes around, everyone is just surrounding like the last couple of guys. It was super effective, especially with the jump. The jump started just becoming absolutely just absurdly overpowered.
I'll be honest, I actually gave less credit to the elf than I should have in the very beginning. I just saw her as kind of like a little rogue, like move around like here and there. By the end of the game, she was like one of my strongest characters.
Yeah, same.
She was fucking ridiculous.
She just one-shot things with that really long attack, the really long power attack that she had.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Not
it was like,
only
oh yeah,
that, and
boom,
like
250, 300 damage.
And like
just
her base range was just like
the entire board.
nuts.
It's like,
and then
it's like she can see it, she can hit it. Like
I would use the ranger to upgrade the movement and range
buff everyone.
of each. And then when that happened, it was like I can put her like all the way in the back corner, and she could still reach the far other end of the map. I'm like, good on you.
Yeah, I played like totally differently. Like my elf was mostly like healing along with the wizard, and like so I went like healing with the elf, and then I went with a lot of the Overwatch skills because the Overwatch was ridiculous.
Yeah, her Overwatch was really good too.
At the end, I had 5 Overwatch shots. Jesus. And
That's
like
insane.
and like her Overwatch shot was doing 100 damage. And like her and the Rangers initiative was always like first. So I would put them both in Overwatch as soon as battle started basically. And they were just like fucking mowing shit down just even in Overwatch. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't use Overwatch that much. I kind of went for like the speedy build, like so get everyone out into their maximum like kill cone, we'll say, and just start wiping everything off the fucking board.
Yeah.
I used a lot of the chain attacks, so like I would use, I would keep both of the mages together. I would usually keep the priest and the mage together. And I would use the mage's one ability that was an AoE. The second tier of it, it would move the people around in the 9 squares.
Switch 'em.
So I was getting really, really fucking lucky with them, where it would do the configuration and they would all be touching squares together, and then I'd use chain lightning from the priestess and just take 4 guys out in one turn with those 2 together. And it was just like boop. Boom, done. There's 4 guys out of the way. Where am I moving this fucking death unit to? The mage has an amazing self-heal, the evil rabbit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That thing was awesome.
Love
That
it.
was doing like 150 damage at the end and just healing her for 150 every single time. It was so gross.
I unlocked her serpent ability at the end, too, and that thing was...
The scare.
Yeah. So I guess I played a little differently than all you guys, honestly. So I'm thinking of my tactics, and I played very kind of turtled in a way. Like I did
That's
the Rangers.
very you in a lot of games.
Yeah. So like with the Ranger, I did the defense build with him. So everybody was getting plus protection and I guess resistances.
That and movement.
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't get movement buff on that one.
So you would go with the shield buff instead of the sword
shield
buff.
buff.
There's
Yeah.
the shield buff, the sword buff.
And then I think you could tailor each one individually as well.
Yep.
So, but I did a lot of debuffing. So anytime an ability came up with stun or knockdown, I would unlock that one. So all characters had options to stun. And like I feel like I had half of the battlefield either stunned or knocked down at all times.
Same.
And you're doing extra damage to any enemy that's like incapacitated,
Gotcha,
essentially.
Yeah.
So it was like a defensive attack, if that makes
Yeah.
No,
any
it
sense.
definitely
So-
does, because you're planning ahead for the next round or the next phase, like once it hits. So if you can have an enemy like stunned or knocked down or whatever, so they can't do anything for that one, it's like that's where I put my main focus into all the characters. Like the shield bash for the ranger, the dwarf, like his charging strike.
Yeah, that helped a lot with his
The
movement.
bad breath from the ogre, or anything that could give like a status effect of eliminating one character, like one enemy for one round, was good enough.
My favorite ability at the end of the game, and I put a lot of points into the thief's agility, but he had that strike like 4 times. I had it eventually.
yeah.
If you get behind a character, and I purposely put shittier equipment on him. Anything that would buff his critical chance.
Yeah.
Even if there was a more upgraded piece of equipment, if it didn't do anything with critical, I left the old piece on.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was just all 4 attacks, critical.
He was a boss slayer. It was absolutely insane.
He was one-shotting ogres, like the 500 plus health.
Yeah. Oh,
ogres.
Yeah.
It was insane.
I did the exact same thing with him. I saw that like his skills were all like crit based, and I was like, oh, cool, he's going to be a crit monkey. I was like, he's going to have like the worst gear out of anybody, but when he touches something, it's going to die.
Yeah. And he was honestly like one of my least favorite characters, too.
Oh, yeah, he was super fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I also think he was the least favorite characters of the characters.
Yeah,
everyone just
within
ignored
themselves.
him.
Not personality wise, just ability pool wise. I didn't like
Yeah.
a lot of his ability, especially like I wish I would have respect him because I hated the invisibility ability.
I will say he was the first one that I was okay with dying out of the entire party.
I never
sacrificed
never
him.
lost a character in battle like the countdown, not once.
Oh, really?
No.
I had like 2 or 3 instances where I couldn't get somebody up, but it was like,
Oh.
but like the
Good for you guys.
but like the
Defensive build, man.
I just didn't care. It wasn't expensive.
the couple of
To what?
times
What wasn't
to
expensive?
heal him. He's
Yeah,
talking
to
about
heal him.
healing
If you didn't pick him up, all they took was the injury damage.
Oh yeah. I meant
they even got experience. They didn't.
no, I meant like even with the countdown goes.
Yeah.
You can just
Yeah.
You can just leave them.
Just after the battle, you just heal them up.
They just stand up, and you have to use an extra
yeah, they
bandage.
get 1 health. They stand up,
okay.
yeah,
and then you just heal them with bandages. Yeah,
and by the end of the game, you have so much money, it's fucking
it's
insane.
yeah. It's a very forgiving game. I will say that.
when you reach a certain point, it's forgiving. Like in the
think the whole
in the
game-
beginning, it's a
I'd say
little
like
bit
the
of
first
like,
4 hours.
yeah, like
You can be like, because you don't have like builds that synergize.
Sure.
Like
Sure.
it starts a little sluggish.
I thought the middle was the hardest part though. Like the end, I thought I was just blowing through everything, and the first part of the game
Yeah.
is like introductory, so that you're like wiping all the shit
Like
out.
the last few hours of the game, they really start throwing gear at you though too. Like you just find like top tier gear fucking everywhere.
You find
Well,
it everywhere, and you have so much money that you can just go buy everyone gold
Everything,
kits.
yeah.
I will say I feel like the first like 6 to 10 hours were more of a grind, but if you're exploring all of the areas and like really getting everything that you're looking, that you can, it's by like 10 hours in, it's kind of coasting from
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
If that's your type of gameplay, which that's the way I treated this game, was I'm going to be my own like loot whore self, and I'm going to explore every tiny crevice of each floor or each dungeon, whatever comes up.
Yeah.
And with that, it's like the gold items or the more rare items just kept popping up. I'm like, oh, here we go. It's
Yeah.
like I already have something that's better than what I can buy, so I'm not going to waste my gold on it.
Did anyone beat the side boss in the game?
Which
the,
one?
The hardest boss in the game, the demon that sends you to the astral plane. Did anyone fight him?
Tough luck?
No, not tough luck. The one that sends you to the astral
Okay.
plane.
No.
I don't know.
I didn't do much
co-
side questing,
Did
to be
you
honest.
guys come across any of those statues that you can turn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I missed a bunch before I figured out what I was supposed to
yeah.
do, and I was like, I am not going all the way
You
back.
can go
for
back
those.
to all of them. I didn't do it because I got fucking frustrated trying to find all of them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently
You have to turn them a certain direction.
They all have to face
Yes.
away.
away from
no. They all have to face certain directions based on a book that you find.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice
They
that.
all have to face certain like north, south, east, west.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you can go down and fight the demon that helps you, that you like make the
okay.
pact with.
Yeah.
That he's like kind of a dickhead
the
every
one
time
who,
you go
one
in
who
there.
can't go downstairs.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's stuck on his plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to go fight him, basically. And apparently it's the hardest boss in the game.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Of like the 3 bosses that are in the game.
Never went back. I would have. Did not.
I thought about it, but I was like, eh. And then my game fucking auto saved into the DLC, and I'm not in the dungeon anymore,
I knew all the statues had something to do with end game, but like, I don't know.
You literally can't go fight him until the last mission of the game. Because one of the statues is like the room right before.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You go fight.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah.
Oh man, there was something else I wanted to bring up with gameplay.
Repeating the floor is kind of annoying.
Yes.
Yeah.
When they would send you to somewhere.
I wish you could have like traversed quicker. I felt like that would have sped up the game a lot.
Yeah.
How many times did you guys get hit by the same trap?
Once.
Really?
Yeah, I would usually
most of the
learn and disarm it.
Yeah, most of the time I would literally zone and then come back in and disarm it.
I'd say a couple times on some of those where like you start moving up through the higher floors, like 6, 7,
Yeah.
something else, and then you have to go back to 1, and you're running through again, and then
Like through an area you're already
and then
cleared.
I get hit with one. I'm like, oh god damn
Yeah.
it, and then
Oh, it was
after
super
that-
annoying. That's why I kept fucking zoning out and grabbing them again.
Yeah,
it was super fucking annoying.
By that by like it mostly I got hit like towards the end of game, but when that happened I had a stupid amount of potions where I'm just like I don't fucking care. I'm just gonna heal everybody
Yeah.
and not deal with it. Unless it's I think like the first floor when you start running towards like the left of the map and there's one trap that'll hit you and there's another trap like
right next to it. Yeah, I
2
know what you're talking
sections
about.
ahead of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do like a quick zigzag and it's like right there again.
Yep. You're like
I-
boom,
I-
boom. You're like fuck.
Yeah.
I got more annoyed of having to switch to the thief who
Yep.
would walk slow as fuck to be
Oh,
able to find it rather than
It was
just
really
get
annoying.
hit
It was-
by the trap
it was
and just
really annoying.
spend the potions to heal everybody. I'm like I just
rolled with it. I mean, like, once I got like halfway through the game, I just didn't even care because I was just like, I'm not switching to this thief, and it'd be like, boom, and everybody would take like 15 damage, and I'm like, that's basically nothing anymore.
There's a few traps at the end of the game. I don't know if it's because I was like looking for like that book and stuff like that. There were some traps that were like 120 damage, and I was like, ooh,
Oh, yeah.
that's not great.
Spicy.
yeah, like when you're going through like the little fences, like in like
Yeah.
the pit of Erlich or whoever when you're looking for the anvil and you're
Yeah,
trying to go through.
yeah. Some of those were brutal.
Yeah, and then you just get smacked and like, oh fuck. Well, I'm not going to reload. I just might as well heal everybody up and just keep going through it and try not to do it again. And then I get hit again. I'm like, fucked it up. Round 2.
Yeah. Did you guys use items a lot?
No.
Healing items.
Yeah, healing items.
You mean like the
The
wines
wine and
and
shit?
the
Nope,
elixirs?
not once.
and the no.
Did you guys sell it?
Eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
saved it
sold
for
all
a
of
while until I realized how much fucking inventory space it was clogging up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I would have used a lot more of them if it was a free action in battle.
Bingo.
But the fact that it took like your entire action just to use that, it's counterproductive.
I would have moved them even if it was tied to my movement.
I didn't even put stuff in the
In your
stash
belts?
spots on the belts. Yeah, I was like, this is pointless.
Having some of the healing items came in handy a couple times.
Yeah.
I
Especially
had,
the characters that don't have a healing spell.
with the priestess, like it wasn't an issue.
I did. I mean,
She could heal. She could pretty much heal the whole room.
Mine
Mine could, anyway,
On
like
the
I-
belt, I would always have a health regeneration for everybody on the belt, like going through.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, no meats or food items or
Yeah.
wines, whatever it is. That just became gold.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, like I was saying, I just didn't really even use them. And I would have probably if it was like Harry said, a free thing or not tied to an attack. I think that's what killed me. Cause I
Yeah,
was
like the whole.
if I could attack and then pick up the guy sitting next to me that's down with my potion, like,
Yeah,
and not
great.
move,
Yeah.
I'm still okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
They could have done a better job with that because
Yeah.
a lot of the food items and the drinks and shit, like, they weren't game breaking. You know what I mean? Like, they buffed a stat.
Or like even like, most games where it's just like, oh, if you use this on yourself, it's a free action. If you use it on somebody else, it's a cost action. Like
Right.
that would have been great too.
Yeah.
There's better ways they could have handled
Yeah.
it, though.
Yeah. It just became more inventory management, which was not great.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I stopped putting the potions on them. I'm like, this is really fucking annoying to keep fucking refilling these.
Well,
I'm
if
good.
you have the same item, you could just turn on auto refill. So, like, if you had like a potion on your ogre and you had a bunch of potions in your stash, like,
I didn't
and
know
you
that.
used it,
Yeah, I didn't
it
know
would just
that.
I didn't know
auto
that
replenish.
That would have been better.
Yeah,
Oh well. Done now.
yeah. There was one point where I like,
There's an extra hour of Steve's playthrough he could have cut off.
Yeah, right?
Just equipping potions.
honestly,
1 hour. That's being very generous.
yeah. There was one, I think one of the last like vendors had like so much money. I was like, oh, I can buy all 99 of these potions.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like,
He's like,
bought all of.
I'm gonna go buy you out of all your minor potions. Thank you, sir.
Oh, I was talking about like the major ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny. Outside of that, I mean, pretty good for the most part. I thought.
It was all right.
Yeah, the map was wonky for me. I played on PC with keyboard and mouse, so like
Same.
the I don't know, the navigation for me like wasn't the best. Like I just felt like I was getting disoriented all the time.
It was a little weird of like moving throughout, and then it's like, oh well, if you switch your perspective, like
Yeah.
I think it was like Q and W or whatever the
You can spin the
keyboard-
camera, right?
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, I need to make sure that I'm aware of how I'm aligned in this direction, and then I can get there easily.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then if you have to go back to a different floor, then it's like, what the fuck am I doing? Where am I going?
That part's a touch more simplified on the console, just playing with a controller.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, are some of the fucking controls and some of the fucking menu navigation super fucking convoluted.
Yeah, I played for like 10 minutes. I played, I think, the first tutorial battle on controller, and I was like, there's no way I'm doing this.
It sucked. It fucking sucked.
like doing the movement, selecting all the different skills. Like,
Yeah.
it just
I'm
felt
going to
very
move over
cumbersome.
here. I'm going to hit R1, and then I'm going to click X to confirm instead of just like R1 to just do the move,
Yeah,
or like assign them all a button.
yeah,
Like just move your character with the left stick, and then click.
yeah.
It boggles my mind the console adaptation for that, and then also like the menus just give us a mouse.
Oh, really?
Oh my god, just give us a mouse. Like, just give us like an actual thing
pointer
that you
that's,
can
like,
go
slow
over
as fuck moving?
and no, or just like something that you can adjust. That's fine.
So it's triangle to switch back and
Yeah,
forth.
you have to switch between
and
you have to switch
R2 to
between
ch-
the fucking menu and the fucking thing
The character
with
screen.
triangle with the character screen. Yeah, so you have to hit triangle for that, and then to actually navigate the top menus, you have to use L1 R1 and fucking L2 R.
Yeah.
There's like
R2,
three
it's-
sub menus.
Oh
Like
my
the
God.
R2 for characters, R1 for the blades on the menu, and then the triangle on the
Which
sides.
side you're focused
Oh,
on?
and then
Yeah.
if you're over an item and you need details or compare, it's like 7 other fucking buttons.
That sounds terrible.
It was awful.
It was a lot,
awful. That's
yeah.
why I didn't do a lot of the stuff. Like, I was just like, okay, this item is a better color than this one, and the numbers are higher. I'm just going to equip this.
Speaking of which, I found a small error in the beginning of the game. Actually, there's a bunch of errors that I want to touch on, especially in the next category. So you know when they're doing like the thing, they're like, oh, if you hit up on the D-pad, that'll show you the map or something like that. It wasn't up; it was left on the
Yes.
D-pad, and I couldn't get past that part for a while because I was like, I'm hitting up. Why is the map not coming up?
Oh, boy.
And I finally just started hitting buttons, and it was left on the D-pad.
Yeah.
And the narrator is like, hit up.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's left.
I'm hitting up.
What did I fuck up?
What did I do?
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that is like localization and how much of that is like programming.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I said,
Up and left is kind of hard to really fuck up.
up and left.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Playing on PC was good though, as far as most of that shit's concerned. I mean, literally, you could play the game one-handed if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
As long as you needed like an escape button to exit the inventory screen, but that was about it.
I mean, I feel like this was like made to be played on PC, and trying to port it over.
It was 100%.
Trying to port it over to like
it came out like a
console
year after PC on PS4 and stuff.
Yeah, that just seemed like a mistake. Just hearing between Clark and Harry of their experience, that just
It wasn't a mistake. They figured out the easiest way for them to program the controller to it,
Right.
not the best user interface for the user.
not user friendly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It was fucking annoying.
All right. Well, let's throw a dwarf into some graphics.
Graphics.
Graphics. So fire seemed to cause a lot of problems in my game. I don't know if it did for you, where I'd see like laser lights across the screen.
I kind of
at all.
had some of that too, where it was like showing in different spots, or it would run along the grid.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the grid system.
Yeah.
You'd see it like run along the grid.
Like between the tiles or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, if you get the right angle when you're turning the camera, it was just persistent.
Yeah.
A lot of- like every couple of seconds, just flash across the screen.
And it wasn't like the tiles that had the fire. It was like
It
was only really
it
during
started from the
battles.
fire and just went across the
Yeah.
fucking screen.
Yeah.
And Harry, you played on PlayStation also, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That might have been a console.
It could have been.
exclusive
It
problem.
totally could have been.
Because I did not see that as much. The only thing that I really ran into, I guess you could put into graphics, was the lag time between an enemy taking an action and then the end of their turn, where the camera would pan to the enemy
And they'd just be standing there doing
and then
nothing.
just standing, like,
yeah, I had
kinda
that.
huffing and buffing, like back and forth, and then just waiting. And I would do, like, at least playing on PC, like Joe, like, just hold like the space bar and like to speed the action up, and then they're just sitting there, and then you go from buffing really fast, and then it stops, and then the turn commences. It's like but I mean, we're talking like at least 10 to 15 seconds, which
I didn't see that.
doesn't sound like a lot, but
I had one instance and I thought it was something different though. I think it was a calculation thing.
It was like calculating what they wanted to do,
So-
and
so-
it just got stuck.
Yeah, and that's but it was also linked to animation, I think, as well. So like I had the ogre ability where he self heals or something like that when he kills an enemy,
Yeah.
but I also gave him multiple buffs with that.
A jewelry or whatever where it heals or something like that.
Well, like heal plus,
Yeah.
and I think I had some amulet where it's an additional like 15 or 20% on top of that.
Okay.
So there was multiple calculations happening with that. I also unlocked the ability to equip him with the hammer. So everything wasn't. It was sometimes he would flip between slap attacks and hammer attacks depending on the attack. Now I found if I killed an enemy with like an ability that had like the ability had the animation and the enemy died, everything would freeze. Not freeze, but like nothing else would happen. It seemed like it was really trying to do this calculation of, do I calculate the health where he does that animation and drinking the potion, or do I put him back to like normal state? I don't know. There was a weird thing with that. If I did an ability, it couldn't figure out what to do next.
Yeah, there was some weird slowdown for sure. I noticed with it. I mean, we're getting I guess this is graphics. I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Well,
I don't know where
it's
to really
graphics
have this
slash
conversation.
gameplay.
about that.
We're
Close
already
enough.
past
well,
that,
I was
so-
thinking it was tied to animations. So
yeah,
Yeah.
loop it in, whatever.
Yeah, I had a crash where it did that thing that you were saying, where it went to the next character and they were standing there, and then they stopped, and the 15 seconds never went away, and then it just like
Blue screen.
Just
well,
it just kept
yeah.
repeating itself, where you're waiting for it to give you the next action.
Oh no,
Like,
everything stopped on my screen except for like the fire. It was just like I could see like a
Oh.
torch going, and all the actions of the character stopped on screen, and then I blue screened went back to the home screen and had to boot
You
the game
went full
back up.
blue screen. Mm-hmm. Oh shit.
Well, like the report.
Yeah. Blue screen on
PS5
PlayStation.
screen.
No, I get that. Yeah, no, I never got to that point, but there were several times where it would just lock up almost. I mean, there was still action, quote unquote, happening on the screen where things were moving, but it wasn't progressing.
That problem though is persistent in all of these games. Happened in the first XCOM, happened in XCOM 2. I've never played a game where it doesn't have that kind of lag outside of maybe like Fire Emblem on Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is, but for some reason maybe it's just PlayStation and Xbox just don't handle that kind of calculation or processing power, and somehow the Nintendo does, the Switch does, but like I've never had that issue on any of the like multiple Fire Emblem games I've played that are roughly the same concept,
right?
And then these games, like, they just fucking lag. Like it's always at like the end of a turn, or like it's like just something weird happens where there's like a weird 15-second delay before an action can be taken.
Huh.
So I didn't have that problem, but I did have a different problem with the end of turns occasionally. Like sometimes it would do like the zoomed in, like if you're finishing.
Yeah.
And then it would like stay on like the barbarian, right? And then an enemy turn would be happening in the background without the camera going back to the standard like isometric view. Like you just be looking at the barbarian, and then like in the background you see like a goblin run by.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Like
That
so
sounds
like
like
it wasn't
fun.
like frozen, it just like the camera didn't reset or something like
Right.
that. Because as soon as like that enemy was done their turn, like they would do their whole attack and everything. And then as soon as it was done, it would like the camera would be like speed along the track that it would have went if it followed the goblin, I
to
guess.
try and catch up.
Yeah. But I never saw it where it was just like waiting.
So graphically though, like I don't have too many issues with the game except for some of the glitchiness.
Right.
But like I thought like the design of the characters was pretty well done. They're very, very stereotypical characters, but
yeah, it's the whole point of the game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely stylized, which I can appreciate the style that they used. They went for like that kind of like comic book, like Saturday morning cartoon style Dungeons and Dragons.
They try to
Yeah.
hit the tropes of what would be
Sure.
expected with it, which, yeah.
I didn't have a problem with any of the design or like the artwork per se.
Yeah.
The dwarves look like dwarves. The elves look like elves. You know.
Yeah,
Like the
like-
humans, the ogres. The.
Yeah, exactly.
I did like the style of the characters where they did look very cartoony and kind of like fun, but
Just to build on that real quick, it could have been easy just to create the characters and keep them the same throughout the game, but like the equipment that you changed out did have an alteration on their appearance.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that I appreciated as well. There's a lot of games that, especially when they're not AAA titles, that they're just like
That's the first thing
oh,
they cheap out on.
Yeah, it's one of the first things they do. Like, oh, we're not touching the character models. Like, they're going to be looking like this the entire game.
And I will say, typically, it's with this very like cartoony style, or like kind of like over embellished type of style. This is not like when I started to see that, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna like this game, just based on
you're turned off by that kind of, or turned away by that kind of.
yeah, exactly.
Not turned off, turned away by that
I know,
kind of.
there's one or two times
Not
where
in the
it's like,
hentai.
yeah. Speak for yourself. But yeah, usually with like that
No.
that kind of like over embellished like cartoon look, that's not something where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be as drawn in to this game because of that, as compared to something with like more realistic characteristics of characters. Which I'll address that in Morgan's minute in the final thoughts.
I know where that's going.
Yep.
Should we translate the ogre and move into sound?
audio.
I think for the corny dialogue, which was the target for this game, the voice actors did a very good job. I'll give it that. It's like, this is what we're going to do, right? It's like it seemed like the intention was to be awkward and crass in the jokes.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Just kind of like it's. I don't know. I didn't mind it.
I will say the Ranger did his best Nathan Fillion impression. I kept being like,
Is it?
he would do a game like this. Like, this is totally something that he would do, but it wasn't him. I checked.
For me, it was like the writing was really good. Well, I wouldn't say really good. It's intentionally corny and dumb.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to figure that in, right?
It's basically it almost speaks to if you're into that or not. If you can accept that for a style, or if you're just completely turned away by that kind of stuff.
I could totally see like the campiness of it wearing off on people after a few hours. Like,
And it did.
totally get that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a little different though with the quest dialogue stuff.
Okay. All right. Fair.
In my opinion, but
It's like silly dick jokes. That's
Y- y-
basically
yeah.
the
There were a
entire
lot
game.
of dick jokes. Yeah,
but some of the voice actors were not trying whatsoever.
yeah.
like
The
some of
ogre,
the
like,
well, I mean,
the
like
ogre was funny. I kind of you do yum yum.
yeah.
He's like, oh, he wants to eat something. Like, I started to like.
Did you guys hear Clark talking too? Like a little bit more. He's hungry, I think.
Yeah, like
Yeah, it's just like
the people I was talking about were like the extra wizard you talk to.
Yes.
Like Mel
I think I know
Boots,
exactly which one you're talking
like
about too.
the what was the other guy?
I want to eat some cheese.
Yeah, like
Fucking hate that guy.
there was like one of those guy from that trio of wizards that was like totally not giving a shit
Yeah.
about doing the voice
I
acting.
had that impression
Fromage.
early in the game. I was like, they just pulled this guy right off the street.
Yeah.
It was
to do
terrible.
this. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Where are you going on that bus? How would you like to be a voice actor?
Yeah.
Yeah. They all seemed low budget, like really low budget voice actors.
Well, yeah. So that's the
That's
thing.
fine.
It's a localization company. I think this game is like one of those games where they finished the entire thing in French, and then they had another company do all of the English.
I don't
yeah,
know.
no,
I don't know if they had another company do it. I mean, like I said, not much development out there, but like they might have done it in house. Because some of the English wasn't great either.
I mean, most of the time it's not. It's still someone in your country doing the
Yeah.
localization.
I will say, if it wasn't done well, I didn't notice anything. I was just like going through with the story.
Jesus,
I'm dying. I'm dying
guy
inside.
fucking lush.
But no, I didn't like actually realize any difference between like, oh, well, maybe they were translating into English. It's like it just sounded the same.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me explain a little bit more when I said low budget. Like, I don't mean. I felt like
Go ahead.
the guy is like, I'm making $400 off of this. I'm going to give a $400 effort.
Sure, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. It just there are low budget things that could still be amazing. I just don't think these
This is
people
it.
were going for amazing.
I just don't. Again, that's why I kind of feel like it was a localization company, because this seems like it's a group of friends that made a video game, that were really excited to make this video game, and I would think that one of them would step up to be that voice if this wasn't a localization. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, one of them would be like, I will play that character enthusiastically. I don't care that we paid the fucking bum across the street $400 to voice act for us. It's 3 lines. I'll step up and actually give it a performance or a try, and it'll sound genuinely better than that garbage that we paid $400 for accidentally.
I thought the ambient sounds around like the dungeon and everything like that were, I mean, decent. Like, they made sense. Nothing sounded out of place as far as like clanging chains or general noise around like the inn and whatever.
I'll be
The
honest,
tavern theme is still replaying in my head like daily. It's like I can't get rid of that.
I don't remember any of the music, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think the music was particularly.
It worked in the moment. It's nothing like I'm not like going back listening to it or
I
whatever.
heard a lot of the menu music because I would like boot this game up and then like, I'd like have to like finish something up. Like I'd like boot it up like and play it during lunch, right? And I would boot it up and then I'd like have to do something real quick for work, so I'd be like doing that for like a half hour, and I'd be like just listening to the menu music, and I'm just like, okay, all right, this has something to it. I just don't think it's like amazing, but there is something to that main theme that kind of stuck with me a little bit. I couldn't hum it for you right now though, but if you played it for me, I would know that it was like, oh, it's the dungeon music from Amulet of Chaos.
I think the sound clip that stands out the most was that as soon as you jump into battle, something like I remember that sound more than anything in this game.
Dun dun.
Especially when it like they start to split your groups towards the end of the game.
This is audio, Steve.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that's where I noticed it the most.
All right. So let's move into final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
All right. Steve, final thoughts.
Yep.
Sprinting.
Not even leap.
I'll go with this. No, not even leap, not jump. We're just hearing final thoughts. So, Morgan's Minute is jiggle titties. It's within the first 5 seconds of her coming into the room where I was playing the game, she looked down and was like, huh, that character has some really, really bouncing tits. Like, it does.
She's an elf.
I literally did not notice any sort of jiggle physics in this game at all.
Well, I would say I'm surprised, and I would also probably call you a liar because there were so many.
Yeah, you liar.
I noticed so much jiggle with the elf. I don't need a recourse from you. I'm just saying there was a lot of booby jiggle physics with the elf, like even with like this side screen, and she noticed it like just with her moving around because I selected the elf as like my party leader, so I could get places faster. And she just looked at the screen. It's like, her boobs move a lot. It's like, yes it does.
It's only one. It moves a lot.
Yeah.
Octoboob.
Octobooby.
Uniboob?
Uniboob.
You're like, there's only one.
Octoboob.
There are 8 titties.
4 on the front, 4 on the back.
Either way, this is not typically my type of game, though I will say the more I played it, the more I adapted, and the more I did enjoy it by the end. So this kind of like turned me on the strategy, right? Harry, put a thumb on my butt, please. This turned me to actually appreciating like these type of strategic games with like cover and whatnot, where it did not just click before.
Interesting. Clark, final thoughts.
Overall, I think this is a pretty enjoyable game, although instead of like a 35-hour experience, I think there's a really tight 25-hour experience here, and I really think that it would benefit from being cut down like that. Otherwise, though, I think like the gameplay was enjoyable and overall not a bad experience.
Harry?
So, again, I kind of want to say I wish the percentages were a little bit more transparent. Same issues with XCOM. I did like the characters. I love the gameplay. I think the gameplay is super solid. Stop glancing down at it. Issues with the audio, huge issues with the story of the game. And again, I think we could chop a few hours off of this game, and it would have been just fine. So the other thing I was going to say, something that it's a minor gripe, but I wish they would have given you more control as a player with this. The customization of abilities. I don't like how they were tiered out in a way. Like you couldn't. Like I think all the abilities and stuff should have been on like an equal playing level. Just type of style that you wanted to go for. I just didn't like how like some of those abilities were locked out until the very end. And you can only get like 2 per tier essentially, unless you wanted to use one on a previous tier.
Right.
Does that make sense? Where you had like the 5 tier. You had to put so many points into each level before the next one would unlock. Yeah. And I just think they didn't need to do that, and they could have just allowed for more customization by just opening up the grid right from the get-go.
I think that's why they give you the potion, that you could reset everything.
Yeah, but still, like let's say you wanted to put all your stuff into like the, I don't know, level 4 level or something.
Okay.
Or I don't know. I wish they would have allowed for the customization.
Usually games that do that type of thing do a cost structure though.
Okay.
Like where the skill, like
these
skills cost 1 point, these skills cost 3 or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you'd have to like save up longer type of deal or something like that.
Like I said, minor gripe. And I did find a lot of the abilities when choosing. Like there was for most characters, not all, but for most characters, I think there was a clear, this is the best choice. I think for a lot of them.
I think the play style, honestly, a lot of them had options.
Yeah, the game was pretty forgiving. You could go either way, especially with like the amount of party members you had.
Yeah, I think there's 2 archetypes pretty much for every character.
Yeah.
That were rather obvious. Like you could, we don't. It's final thoughts.
The other thing I was going to say, so you could cheat the system a little bit and respec at the end of the game. After, like for the ogre, for example, if you unlocked the break door abilities, you can break all the doors, respec, and use those 2 points elsewhere because you don't need it anymore.
Right.
At that point. So there's stuff like that, like the thief disarming the traps, upgrades. Like you don't technically need that.
I never upgraded it. I was just like, I'll roll with it, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts.
Joe, what are your final thoughts?
A lot of the same opinion. I thought the game was fun. It had its moments. It was longer than I probably would have liked. Like I agree, Clark. I think if this was 20 to 25 hours, given the tone of the game, I think it fits a little better. But yeah, overall, enjoyed.
Good shit.
All right. Let's stop off at the tavern, grab a beer, and give our scores.
The score.
Stuff some chairs. I still don't know what that means. What is that? What is that
Being a
symbolism?
chair stuffer?
Yeah.
With chicken feathers, probably.
Yeah, but what is that like a metaphor for?
Probably. It might not even be
Google
a
it.
metaphor.
Yeah.
It's just
Google
literally stuffing chairs.
Probably
Sure.
a dude that fucks chairs.
Yeah.
Maybe. Just really into fucking chairs.
You chair stuffer!
Because the asses sit on chairs, and then he stuffs the chairs.
Instead of the asses.
Interesting.
So it's like weird grinding with the chair in between.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like that really
Yeah.
famous internet video where like all those people are just like grinding on all the couches and stuff.
Oh, forgot about that.
Forgot
about that.
Pony by Genuine Plays.
I thought you were talking about Mr. Hands for a second, and then that's a completely different video.
All right. Clark, score.
I think this would be a great game to pick up on sale. I don't think it's worth the full price at $35.
Harry?
Man, this is a tough one to grade. I'm gonna be honest, because it was fun. The battle system's really fun, but it is lacking a lot of polish in this game. I'm gonna go 4.5. I'm just gonna go just below the average. Yeah, it was fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun, but they need to clean up a lot of shit with this game.
Steve?
I'm going to give this a solid B. Right in the middle.
Good old bowel movement.
Shit my pants. But it's fun.
Is it?
Sometimes.
Can you explain one of those?
Don't knock it till you try it.
What, shit in the pants?
Yeah. You've been there.
You done it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all done
You
it.
too, Clark. Don't you talk like you haven't.
I pooped my pants in front of Harry once.
Did you?
When I had food poisoning and you came into the bathroom at the apartment.
I don't
And
remember.
I was on the floor. I was on the floor, like literally vomited into the toilet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Need a
It
velociraptor.
was a terrible time.
Oh, I'll tell you a terrible time. When I had to do that cleanse for the colonoscopy,
Yeah, I bet that was awful too.
there was one point where, like, you cannot stop shitting. Just shitting. But I also had to vomit. I don't have two toilets next to each other. So I had to choose which one do I want to go on the floor.
No, trash can, man. What are you talking about?
Is your toilet not close enough to a tub to puke in?
No.
Really?
The one in the bedroom. Like, there's the tub all the way across the room.
Oh, well, why are you fouling up the master bedroom with your bullshit?
No, you need to go to the guest bathroom.
Yeah,
man.
That's
You
a
don't
use
get
this
that in
bathroom
your-
activity.
Okay.
Fuck,
You
use
know
this
what?
bathroom down here. Shit.
It was an awful night. It's a very awful night.
Yeah, that's why you don't fuck up the master one. Anyways,
I love it. It was just an off comment, and then that happened.
I'm going to give this game a 73. 'Cause I found
Generous.
I found it. My grading
right in
scale
the
is
middle.
grading scale is skewed on games. If they're fun to play, they get a better grade.
No, that's
So
Yeah.
that's
I
kind
think-
of like how my scoring system is totally skewed by
that's
that.
fine. The battle system is definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Enjoyable.
When it's running smoothly,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Otherwise,
they need polish.
if you
there's
you
some
try
polish.
to end the game and they get caught up on socks, which do we mention that
The
end
crash?
game bug? Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
talked about it for like 5 minutes twice.
Yeah, we talked about that at length twice.
Just making sure.
You talked about it. You
Stay
brought it
safe.
up. Stay lovely.
Stay sexy.
Oh wait,
Love
we'll see
you
you in 2
guys.
weeks for. You gotta do
Mubbers.
the whole thing.
It's Mubbers.
Yeah, it's Mubbers.
Yeah.
See you in 2 weeks for Mubbers.
Oh,
Stay lovely.
I always like to pitch in the next game.
It's going to be questionable.
What is the
Mubbers.
next game? Hitman 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hitman 3, next game in a month.
Wiener.
Yeah.
Stay lovely.
Balls.
Stay safe.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media and all streaming platforms at Superfun Podcast for more episodes. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend about us and consider becoming a Patreon member for more exclusive content.